Hello IB economics students, both high level and standard level. We're in paper one. We're talking about the 10-mark question. Now we know in paper one there are going to be 3 questions. You have to pick one of those 3. Whichever question you pick, there'll be an A part and a B part. Your A part is your 10-mark question. Your B part is your 15-mark question. We are focusing very much on the 10-mark question here. So we know you're going to have to write one of these in paper one. This question actually is a very easy, very basic question. It's an explain question, testing primarily your depth of knowledge of economic theory, testing your depth of analysis, your depth of explanation. That's all this is. It's a theory test, really. So in that sense, it's quite narrow, it's quite basic. You don't need to spend that much time answering it. We're talking 20 minutes maximum to write this 10 marker, and that will leave you 55 minutes for the big 15 marker that follows. Follow that and you'll be absolutely set. Now, because this is an explain question testing mainly your depth of analysis, you don't need to evaluate in this question. You don't need a final judgment or a final conclusion paragraph. These are skills unique to your 15 marker, not necessary, not examined, not expected on a 10-mark question. Now, to hit the highest levels, to push yourself towards 10 out of 10, there are 3 key components that must feature in your 10 marker, 3 components that are required to hit the highest marks on this question. First of all, you've got to define key terms. Any key terms that are there in the question, you must be able to define them. So know your definitions very well. You need to be drawing diagrams. We know, right, that IB, they absolutely love diagrams. They adore them. They must go to sleep dreaming about diagrams, these examiners. So diagrams are very much expected in the 10 marker. There will be no 10 marker that IB write where no diagram will be drawn. Every single 10 marker is written where at least one diagram can be drawn. So you're very much thinking, I need to be drawing at least one diagram in my 10 marker. But when you draw your diagrams, you've got to make sure you're hitting some key points in a checklist. First of all, you're thinking, I should draw my diagram big, nice and big, a key part of the page you're using to draw the diagram. You should be drawing them in pencil with a ruler, make them smart, make them professional looking. You've got to make sure they're accurate. So if you're shifting a curve, make sure it's the right curve you're shifting, make sure it's shifting the correct way, make sure everything on the diagram is labeled too, your axis, your curves, your equilibria, all fully labeled. And most important of all, you must be referring to your diagram in your writing. So if you're shifting a curve, refer to it, D1 to D2 or AD1 to AD2. If there's any action on the axis, P1 to P2, Y1 to Y2 on a macro ADAS diagram, refer to that. And if you can, if it's relevant, explain why all of that happens. Using the diagram, writing about it in your analysis is then going to give you greater marks, greater credit for the diagram. Plonking a diagram in with no reference to it, you don't get credit at all, okay? So diagrams, yes, you're looking to use them, but you need to be using them correctly, accurately, properly, as IB examiners want you to. And of course, because this question is targeted mainly at depth of analysis, depth of explanation, you need to make sure that is featuring as well. So showcase your knowledge of theory in high depth is the core of what's going to get you a very high mark on this 10 marker. Now, when it comes to structure, let's talk about this. You start very simply by defining the key terms that are there in the question. Make sure in your revision, you're revising definitions so that you can identify key terms in the question and easily define them at the start of your 10 marker. Then you're simply looking for 2 analysis paragraphs. 2 analysis paragraphs. That's it. You don't need more than that. Often IB are quite helpful. They'll start the question by simply saying, explain 2 factors, 2 reasons, 2 causes, 2 consequences, 2 policies. They will say 2 in the question, so you know I just need 2 deep analysis paragraphs. But even if they don't say that, in your mind, 2 is enough as long as you're writing in depth. So 2 is in your mind here. And for each analysis paragraph, of course, we need to be writing depth of analysis. That's not a guarantee, but luckily for you, I have a separate video where I go through exactly how to write a beautiful, deep analysis paragraph in economics. It's linked just over here. Click on that to see great techniques of how to make sure you're writing depth of analysis. That is crucial. So that's got a feature. You're also thinking diagram. Is there a diagram that can illustrate what I'm writing? Is there a diagram that complements the point I'm making, the analysis that I'm making? If the answer is yes, draw your diagram. Just make sure everything I said previously is being done. You're drawing it big with a pencil ruler. Everything is accurate on the diagram. You're labeling everything on the diagram. You're referring to your diagram in your writing. But yeah, you're just thinking, could a diagram illustrate what I'm writing? In which case, draw one. In analysis paragraph 2, maybe the same diagram you've already drawn is relevant. In which case, don't draw it again. Just refer back to that first one. Maybe in analysis paragraph 2, a brand new diagram is relevant. A brand new diagram can illustrate what you're writing here, in which case draw a second one. So there is no rule with the number of diagrams. We know at least one, because no 10 marker IB examiner's right will be without a diagram necessary. There'll always be at least one, but in your mind you're thinking, can I draw a second one for analysis 2? Maybe one paragraph has got 2 diagrams that I can draw. So you're at least thinking one, but in your mind just think, draw a diagram if it's relevant and if it's backing up what I'm writing. If it's illustrating what I'm writing, you can draw your diagram. So depth is crucial, diagrams are crucial. You're doing that twice and then you're done. Remember, no final conclusion or judgment necessary at all. Real world examples are not expected on this 10 marker. They're not examined. If you feel like an example is natural to you, it's going to help you in your analysis, of course you can write one, but know that it's not formally examined. And also note that sometimes there might be a 10 marker where you could only write one analysis paragraph. Sometimes IB will go super narrow. Don't worry if that's the case. This question is supposed to be short. It's not supposed to be a big, long, drawn out thing. So if you only think there's one way, that's it, to answer this question, you're sticking to one analysis paragraph. But generally speaking, 2 is going to be your standard framework, will work most of the time. So a very simple essay. We're thinking 20 minutes. We're not drawing this out. We're not overdoing it. Keep it simple, but write in depth with good diagrams. You're absolutely good to go. And then we can tackle that big 15 marker with plenty of time allocated towards it. So that's it. That's how you write a great 10 marker. Hopefully after this you're thinking, wow, it's that simple. Yes, it's supposed to be. But stay tuned for the next video. We need to get into that massively important, crucial 15 marker. Can't wait to see you then, guys.